Welcome in, everybody. You know what time it is. It is time for the Seth Floyd Show live Wednesday hangout. Thank you for being here. I am Seth Floyd Hansen, your host, you could say. I guess I'm the host of this show. Feels weird calling yourself the host, but is what it is. We're here previewing week 4. Can you believe we are already to week 4? I can't believe it. It's crazy to me. And I was just talking today to Scott, who joins us on the stream sometimes. Uh, it has been one of the weirdest first 4 weeks that I can remember sometime. Usually weeks 1 and 2 are pretty weird, but by week 3 you feel fairly confident in who each team is, or the good teams and the bottom of the barrel teams. Um, you might have some surprises midway through the season as teams gets hot, but usually by then you're starting to feel better. I'm more confused now going into week 4 than I've ever been. More than the beginning of the season for sure. Got myself another treat, guys. Baja Blast Zero. It's fantastic. Zero sugar. Come at me, Mountain Dew. Give me a sponsor. So, what I'm saying is, I did not do very good last week in my picks. Shaq Nums, I forgot to send it to me. Probably because I didn't want to look at it. Last week is the worst I've ever done ever in my life. I think predicting like games, just absurd. I ended up going 7-9, which is better than I thought I did, because it was atrocious. I think I'm. You tell me, Shaq Nums. You sent me that picture. I think I am just above 500 still. Not by much. And if I have another week like that, I won't be. So I really need to bounce back this week on my picks. All in all, terrible week of football. My 49ers are, I don't want to say they're atrocious, but that is one of the worst losses last week in Kyle Shanahan's career. No excuses. We have problems on defense. We definitely have problems on special teams, though that's not a surprise. We've had problems with special teams the entire time Kyle Shanahan's been here. But man, I thought the defense would be fixed. I thought Nick Sorensen had some going. Week 1 looked so good, and even against Minnesota, like, it wasn't terrible. Just had one really bad play, but man, there's no excuse losing to the Rams in the fashion that they did. So I'm trying to pull myself out of depression. All you guys, your team's lost. So I'm looking at you, Scott. Looking at you, Shaq Nums, not this past week, but the first 2 weeks, when your team loses multiple games in a row and you have any kind of expectations, like, oh, you think they're at least in the playoff hunt, and then they lose multiple weeks in a row, it is just the worst. It is the worst thing ever. If you're like me and like you consume sports content, like while you're at work, while you're driving around, like, it is awful because I just stopped listening. I'm like, what do I do with myself? I can't listen to all these people talk about, especially the Niners, because they've been at the top of the NFC for the last handful of years, and then for them to start 1-2, everyone just taking shots at him, and like, oh, I can't stomach it. Some people, it doesn't bother them. It bothers me. It is hard for me to just listen to them trash on my team. So I'm just like finding non-sports related content to listen to. It's awful. It's awful. I know Scott knows what I'm talking about. Cowboys having lost 2 in a row. Like, it's speaking of Scott, officially entered the chat. 3 surprising undefeated teams: Vikings, Seahawks, Steelers. No one predicted that. Yeah. Vikings are no joke. I said it in my reaction video. They absolutely spanked the Texans. Sorry, Stockton, if you're watching this after the fact. Absolutely spanked the Texans. Man, they're the biggest surprise. They could have the best. You could argue they have the best coordinator tandem in the league. I mean, most people are going to take Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo, but could I be talked into Kevin O'Connell and Brian Flores after that? Yeah. Excuse me. I would take that combo over Shanahan and Sorensen, and I'm as big of a Shanahan fan as there is. I don't know if I would take O'Connell 1-for-1 over Shanny, but maybe. Like, I could be talked into it. Shanny's 0-2 against O'Connell. So anyway, Seattle. Yeah, we're going to talk about Seattle. They've had the easiest schedule by some metrics up to this point. Let's look at the quarterbacks they faced. Week 1. Sorry, Shaq Nums, but Bo Nix's first ever start, and that game was close. Week 2, Jacoby Brissett got taken to overtime. I know it was in New England, but got taken to overtime. And then last week, uh, probably the worst quarterback in the NFL was Skylar Thompson, and then Tim Boyle because Skylar Thompson got hurt. So you're right, Seattle, you are 3-0, and that's great. But what the reckoning is coming. Some things are gonna change here pretty soon. And the Steelers, I think any of us who count out the Steelers early on is dumb, because they are the Mike Tomlin teams. Mike Tomlin teams play hard, and their defense is really good. I think Justin Fields is better than Kenny Pickett. We'll see. They're not gonna go undefeated. I don't think they're gonna be like the 1 seed, but you never know. We'll see what happens. So yeah, no, you're right, Scott. You're right. You're definitely right. What did Shacknum say? Here's the thing: yours and Scott's teams are Super Bowl teams and have different expectations. We're scrappy, overlooked. So 1-3 as Broncos fans feels different than the Niners, Cowboys, or Ravens fans. 100%. I get it. And I remember being like that. Shanahan's first year, we lost the first 9 games. The second year in 2018, Jimmy Garoppolo, he started the first 3 games for us, but he tore his ACL in week number 3. So the rest of the year, I just didn't care. Like I had no hope. I had hope for like one more game. I was like, oh, maybe CJ Beathard will be a dude that we just didn't know, and he wasn't. So we were bad again. So it's all about your expectations, 100%. So that's why it's just like, whatever. It sucks. But that's football. That's my own fault for caring so much. It's my own fault for caring so much. I'm working on it. It's a condition, guys. It's a real condition. Cowboys are 2-2. Tomorrow just hasn't happened yet. Be careful. It's still a division game, Scott, and they're feeling good about themselves. They got to win over the Browns, who you guys also beat. So it's short week. You guys are on the road. Short week. Got to fly to New York. Weirder things have happened. One thing, Scott, I don't think you guys are going to lose. But one thing, if you do, Mike McCarthy's going to be gone. He could be fired tomorrow, or not tomorrow. Well, I could be fired tomorrow. Be fired right after the game. He won't make it to the weekend. That would be my guess. Maybe he would, but you're going 1-3, and your third loss in a row is to the Giants, who are supposed to be the armpit of the league right now. Like he would maybe be fired. I don't see that happening. But 2-2, man, doesn't 2-2 sound so much better than 1-3? I can't. For some reason, it's only a 1 game difference, but holy crap, 1-3 is pit of despair. 2-2 is like, all right, 500. Maybe we just started a little slow, but we're 500, so that's all that matters. Just wild. It's wild how we associate things. Yeah. What else from last week? Is there anything else crazy? The Bengals. That was crazy. That's one that I want to talk about. What is wrong with the Bengals? What I don't even know. Do you guys have? I don't have Joe Burrow's stats from that game in front of me. In fact, I'm going to do a video tomorrow, and I'm going to talk about Joe Burrow and Brock Purdy. I'm going to do a little comparison there because people were doing that last week, and then this game happened, and golly, man, the Bengals. How are you 0-3? You want to talk about the biggest whiff I've had? Sorry, guys, if I'm looking up right now. I'm not screen sharing, but what was Burrow? I mean, shoot, he was. 29 of 38, 324 yards and 3 touchdowns. Defensively, they're a mess, though. Defensively, they're a mess. Biggest whiff for me so far is the Bengals. I had the Bengals. Guys, please don't go watch my prediction for show when I was trying to make content. Don't go back and look at that because I had the Bengals as the number 1 seed in the AFC. I had the Bengals as winning the Super Bowl this year. I just thought Burrow healthy and they were going to dominate, but man, what a whiff. What a whiff. And I thought it was a lock that the Bengals were going to win. I thought it was a lock they were going to win. And holy crap. Jaden Daniels looks pretty good. One thing we know about Cliff Kingsbury, who's calling the offense over there, you know what's going to happen? Washington, Scott, this is going to be bad, but Washington is going to go, they're going to be 4-2, 5-2, 5-3. And that'll feel like, holy crap, what's Washington doing? And then the wheels are going to fall off because Cliff Kingsbury, in every situation he's ever been, I understand he's not the head coach. Every situation he's ever been in, they start hot and they suck down the stretch. And it's because teams start picking up tendencies. They start figuring out his tendencies. They start figuring out his offense. They adjust. And then Cliff Kingsbury can't make adjustments after that, or he won't. for whatever reason. He's convinced he doesn't need to. I don't know. But look at every year he was with the Cardinals. That's what happened. Every year he was the head coach at Texas Tech. That happened. So I expect Washington's offense to be good and Jaden Daniels to look really good, just like he did with Kyler, and then for it to fall off the rails second half of the season. So maybe Dan Quinn will, I don't know, get him to adjust and will have a good effect on him. But man, I wouldn't trust Cliff Kingsbury over the course of a full season. But that game was crazy. All right. So I went 7-9 last week. Scott, in our office one, I went 6-10. But on here, I went 7-9 because I had a different game on here. I don't know why I had a different one. So here we go. False. We know that's not true. Did you guys hear, Scott? Did you hear this morning on local radio? Shaq Numbs, you too. I don't know if you listen to local radio here. The radio, they were interviewing Jerry and asked him about the audio, and he just said, "Oh yeah, Jamie Foxx used to come up and we'd hang out and we watch camp together." I don't remember ever saying that though. Just like, what else is he gonna say, right? But I wish he had just owned it. I wish he had just been like, "Yeah, dude, he's got a huge wiener. Is that a problem?" He's like, that's a compliment where I come from. I wish he had just owned it and said that, and that would have been the best. It would have been so funny, and it would have made him so popular if he had just taken that attitude and just repped it. Yeah, you're right. He said, "I don't recall." That's right. And then the phone cut off. Yeah, I was listening to that this morning on the way to work. If he had just owned it and he'd be like, "Yeah, dude's got a huge schlong," and where I'm from, that's like a huge compliment. So I don't know what the problem is. Should I not have said that? Like, he just played that, and everyone would be like, "Oh yeah, Jerry's like a billionaire. He can do whatever he wants. Why do we care? I don't know. Whatever, people are dumb. I just thought it was funny. I wish he'd gone that route. So anyway, all right, let's talk some games this week. Let's talk some predictions this week. Got to do better. I got to do better than last week. As always, our unofficial sponsor that hopefully maybe one day they'll sponsor us, DraftKings. I don't condone betting, but it is fun to look at the lines. Okay, bet responsibly, people. Here we go. As Scott said, Dallas going to New York, 6-point favorites on the road. Of course I'm taking Dallas. Oh man, part of it is because the thing that part of it, the main reason, the only reason is because New York is not very good. I don't care that they just beat Cleveland, but what New York does well, or they don't do anything well, but what you need to be able to do to beat Dallas, you got to run the ball. That's their biggest weakness. Scott, is that correct? Would you agree with me? Is run defense the biggest weakness for Dallas right now? Giants can't run the ball. Sorry, Devin Singletary. So I'm taking Dallas. I would expect them to cover. But you never know. Like, those Thursday night games can be weird, especially if you're the road team. Short week, you never know for sure. Broncos at the Jets. Oh, doggy. 7.5 points. Shaq Nums, they are not impressed with your win over Tampa Bay. So I want to know what you think, Shaq Nums. Are they going to beat the Jets? Now, here's what I'll say. The Jets do not have anything figured out. Okay, what are their 2 wins? They beat Tennessee, and then who did they beat on Sunday just now? I can't remember. I'll go to the score. Sorry, I just burped into the mic. Sorry, guys. Did it again. What's wrong with me? Don't care. Oh, Jets, where are you? Oh, the Patriots on Thursday night. Golly, the Patriots look bad. So, yeah, Patriots Thursday Night Football. Thank you, sir. Oh, and you're saying I agree that Tampa was banged up, so it's not that impressive. But still, dude, they beat – I know they're banged up, but they beat Detroit on the road, and you guys were in Tampa Bay. So I thought it was impressive to a degree, even though they're not full strength. I thought it was impressive to a degree. But here's where I settled. I don't think the Jets have anything figured out. I think they're still poorly coached. They've barely beaten the Titans, who don't look that good. They beat the Patriots Thursday Night Football. It's hard to take anything. Away from a Thursday night game because it's just things can just get so weird, so bad. But Nathaniel Hackett revenge game, screw that, man. Yeah, I don't blame you. I would hate Nathaniel Hackett too. So he's not a good coach. He's a terrible coach. It's just Aaron going out and kind of doing his thing, but he just throws crap. Nathaniel Hackett throws crap at the wall and hopes it sticks. There's no rhyme or reason to his offense, really. There's no setting up plays later in the game. He's just like hoping for the best. It would have to be a great defensive game plan by Vance Joseph. Very possible. Vance Joseph is a good defensive coordinator. And it would just take a few turnovers and then a really clean game from Bo Nix, and that's your path to success. But I don't believe in Hackett at all. Now, I have a hard time assuming Bo Nix is going to have another really clean game. He played pretty well. Didn't turn the ball over on Sunday. He didn't turn the ball over, right? I don't think he did when I was looking. So here's what I settled. I'm going to take the Jets. Okay. I'm going to take the Jets, but I'm going to say Broncos cover. I bet that game is sneaky, like a really good game. And it feels like the Jets are going to win by a field goal or like a 24-20 kind of game. But I would take them to cover the Broncos. So that's where I'm at with it. Love to be surprised. I'd love to see the Broncos like starting to figure something out, but I probably got to see a little more. The Jets are they're poorly coached, but they have a really good roster. Really good players on defense, really good players on offense. So it's just hard to see. This one might be the game of the week. It's crazy. It's a noon kickoff. It's our early kickoff with Minnesota and Green Bay. It is, first off, it's absurd that we're even talking about it. Maybe couple of the best coaches in the league. How is Matt LaFleur 2-0 with Malik Willis? Are the Colts and Tennessee just that bad? They might be. Both teams are 0-3, so maybe that's the case. But I never would have thought they'd go 2-0 with Malik Willis. If they have, we don't know yet if Jordan Love is playing. So I feel it sucks I have to pick this game before we know. I saw another thing saying Jordan Love could potentially play on Sunday. But if Malik Willis is playing, it's a guarantee Minnesota wins. I will say that. Brian Flores playing a quarterback like Malik Willis, who is a very good athlete, and credit to him, he's played well these last couple of weeks. But that defense I would take that defense over any other defense in the league right now. That's how good they're playing, and they're playing with confidence. And they just beat two teams in a row that were supposed to be powerhouses, the 49ers and the Texans, and made the Texans look silly. Like, they're not scared of anybody. They're playing with so much confidence. And if you've ever coached or you've ever played like football, you have to have confidence when you're playing. It's a weird thing. Like, that's why I wonder if that happened to the Niners a little bit, like not playing with confidence after being beat in Minnesota. Like, maybe their confidence was down a little bit, but teams that play with confidence play better. And that team is playing with so much confidence right now. They're not scared of anybody. So I would take Minnesota. With Jordan Love, I'm taking Minnesota either way. I'll say that. I'm taking Minnesota either way. But with Jordan Love, I can see I think if Malik Willis is starting, it's a lock. He's going to turn the ball over. Flores is going to get after him and rattle him. Okay. Titans and Colts are bad. Apparently, that was another team. I was higher on the Titans than most. I thought maybe they'd put it together a little bit, not be like great, but I thought they'd improve from last year, and they just look bad. So anyway, I am taking Minnesota. They're given it's Green Bay being favored is a little surprising. Maybe they think Jordan Love's going to play. I don't know. Either way, I'm going to take Minnesota. I'm not betting against Minnesota again. I've done it twice, 2 weeks in a row now, and I look stupid both weeks. Pittsburgh at the Colts. Don't need to talk much about this. Taking the Pittsburgh Steelers on the road, 1.5 point favorites. They're going to cover. How about Justin Fields? Like, be 4-0, which is crazy. He's still not like he's winning games, but he is. What were his stats? I'll look it up real quick. What was Justin Fields against the Chargers on Sunday? Fields 25 of 32, 245, 1 TD. Like, that's great. I don't think anyone believes Justin Fields can like take over a game and win it for you, whatever. And that's fine, but he keeps winning games, so he gets credit for that. And good for him. Okay. Where are we at? Philly, Tampa Bay. Crazy that Philly is favored on the road. Like, Philly should or could be 1-2. It's eked out a win against the Saints there. Um, Devontae Smith and AJ Brown did not practice today. I would imagine one of those guys is going to miss. I guess I don't know. I guess they both could practice tomorrow. But man, I'm surprised on the road that Philly's favored. Maybe these injuries are just piling up for Tampa Bay. I still don't trust Vic Fangio. I know he had a good game plan against New Orleans on the road, so whatever. But I feel like I need to see more than just like this one game. I'm gonna go Tampa. I'm gonna go Tampa at home, licking their wounds after losing a tough game to the Broncos. Philly probably feeling good about themselves after eking out a win against the Saints. Feels like Tampa's gonna win this. And I would take, I mean, I would buy a field goal, sure, and they would cover. Cincinnati, Carolina. Do either of you in the chat right now? Do you guys think Carolina can force Cincy to 0-4? Is that in the realm of possibilities? Of course, it's in the realm of possibilities, but is that going to happen? Because could you imagine? Is their coach, what's his name, Zach Taylor? Is Zach Taylor getting fired by the bye week? No shot, both of you. No shot, no chance. If he gets, so let me ask you this: if he loses and they go to 0-4, is Zach Taylor the first coach fired? Is he fired mid-season? Would you do that? He took you guys to a Super Bowl. You've gone toe to toe. You've beaten Patrick Mahomes multiple times. Like, would you just fire him? 0-4. You have Joe Burrow. You have T. Higgins. You have Jamar Chase all playing. Like, what's the deal? Would you get fired? I think it would be more like, what's crazy is I feel like it'd be more likely that Frank Reich's not coaching anymore. Where's Frank Reich at? He's not a head coach. I think you're still thinking he's not in Carolina anymore. I think their defensive coordinator would have to be on the chopping block. Like, their defense is a mess, but he's been regarded as like one of the better defensive coordinators in the league. But they look bad this year. No, Canales is the new head coach in Carolina. Frank Reich got fired in the middle of the year last year, so you just are a little late on that. But yeah, Dave Canales. Dave Canales isn't getting fired, but anyway, I think you could have that conversation. That is Zach Taylor. That's his name, right? Zach Taylor. Am I just confusing? I need to write more of this down. Sometimes I just get confused. You if you go to 0-4 and you have your quarterback and you have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, I mean, Zach Moss and Zach Brown are getting it done, or Chase Brown, excuse me, on the ground. So you can't be like, oh, we're worse because Joe Mixon's gone. No, Joe Mixon is not that much better than these guys. So I don't think they will, but I think the Red Rifle, man, you watch out for the Red Rifle. Andy Dalton, look, you put Andy Dalton in and automatically Carolina scores the most points on the week last week. Insane. That's boggles the mind. Okay. I'm going to take Cincy. Because I can't imagine them starting 0-4. That would be devastating. Rams, Bears in Chicago. Bears are 3-point favorites. I thought that was surprising. That doesn't feel right to me. That feels, I don't know. Chicago hasn't looked great. And the Rams, look what the Rams did last week. If you guys didn't watch the game, I'll tell you one thing the Rams did. And McVay is he's as good of a head coach as there is out there. He is that good. The Rams had not run a single play yet this season with two tight ends on the field. And then coming into the Niners game, they ran two tight end sets, at least through the first three quarters, was like 90% of the time. The Niners were not prepared for it because they hadn't shown it on film. And McVay was like, screw it. I'm changing things up because my guys are gone. We're going to line up, do something different. And it worked. We struggled to stop the run. We couldn't get home when they did throw it because they had extra protection. Anyway, he's going to roll with that. The Bears aren't great. I'm not betting against Sean McVay and Matt Stafford. Not when they're playing the Bears. I would take that quarterback head coach duo almost over almost every other team in the league right now. So I'm definitely not picking Caleb Williams and Eberflus over him. Do you know how crushed I'll be in my soul if the Rams, I want them to lose, but part of me is like, if the Bears win, I'm just gonna be like, what the heck is up with the Niners? How did they lose that stupid game? I'm going the Rams. Jags Texans. I'm not going to spend much time on this. Jags are a dumpster fire. I think Doug Peterson is the first coach fired. I think that loss to the Vikings, they're gonna roll. I think this is a multi-score game and lots of problems in Jacksonville. Good thing that you just paid Trevor Lawrence. He looks broken. He does not look like a good football player right now. Saints Falcons. This is one Scott and I debated today at work. I'm gonna go Falcons 2.5 playing in Atlanta. And part of my deal is this just feels like one of those classic times where people had anointed like, oh my gosh, New Orleans looks great. New Orleans is going to be top of the NFC, or at least they could be in the NFC Championship game. They could be the 1 or 2 seed. And then all of a sudden after week 4, they've lost 2 games in a row and they've really come back down to earth. At the end of the day, it's still Dennis Allen and it's still Derek Carr. And Philly, who does not have a great defense, figured out a way to stifle them. They made the Cowboys look silly. Maybe the Cowboys just weren't ready, but there's somewhat of a blueprint out there now. And Falcons played Kansas City tough. So I'm going to go Falcons at home. Yeah. This one's crazy, guys. Clearly, they are not worried. Vegas is not worried about the 49ers. 10.5 points. 10.5 point favorites against the Patriots. Now, the Patriots looked awful. They look like possibly the worst team in the NFL last Thursday. Jacoby Brissett does not look good, man. He hasn't turned the ball over. He's got 1 touchdown on the year. He might have fumbled. I don't know, but he hasn't thrown any picks. Golly, they couldn't move the ball. They looked awful. Defensively, they were okay, but when the offense can't get first downs, your defense spends that much time on the field, eventually you're going to get got, and that's what happened to him. My biggest fear, and I'm glad it didn't happen, my biggest fear for this game was that their coach was going to was just going to be like, no, we're going to go Drake May versus the Niners. Now, I don't think I don't think Drake May would come in his rookie year and just light it up, but you never know. That happens sometimes. Look at Justin Herbert when Tyrod Taylor got hurt a few years ago. He got stabbed by his doctor trying to murder him pregame. And Justin Herbert goes in and goes toe-to-toe with the Chiefs. Like, there's always that possibility. But with Jacoby Brissett, like, I know what I'm getting. Doggy, you better not lose to the freaking Patriots. If y'all lose the Patriots, then Shanny should be on the hot seat. Do you really believe that, Scott? Do you really believe that? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's a tough deal. Because I can be like, man, the coach, he's just in a funk. No CMC, no Debo. Like, things could be in a funk. He's earned enough. Has he not earned enough to be like, look, this can't go on over the course of like multiple years. But if we have a bad year because things got weird, like, I shouldn't be fired. I've taken you to 3 straight NFC Championship games. My head coaching resume is something most coaches can only dream of. Most head coaches don't even sniff their conference championship, and even less sniff the Super Bowl. I understand everyone who hates him. He hasn't won. He's blown a couple leads in the Super Bowl. I understand that. But even with that, his head coaching resume is far and away beyond 90% of the people who have ever been a head coach in the NFL, in NFL history. So I don't know if I could say he's been on the hot seat, but things will get weird. Things will get weird quick. And there'd be a meeting, probably a come to Jesus meeting with the owner, and they'd probably be like, look, what is going on? You need to figure something out because this is unacceptable with how much we're paying some of these guys. It would get weird, but I wouldn't say hot seat. I'm taking the Niners. I would say they're not going to cover. Feels like they could win by 10 points. Not because they're not good enough, but because things are weird right now. And I don't know why. I don't know why things are weird. Defensively, they got to figure some stuff out. Now, this is a perfect game to get right against a bad offense that can't move the ball. Ramondre Stevenson is the only player who can make plays on their offense for the most part. Anyone who can like gash you. There's no one to throw the ball to. Hunter Henry's fine, but he's not going to take over a game and lose a game because of Hunter Henry. So this is a good get-right game for them, and they're going to need it because they play the Cardinals, whose offense is rolling, and then they get the Seahawks after that. So I'll talk more about this, but for those of you wondering, 49ers fans, my official stance on the Niners is if they need to win the next 3 games for me to feel confident, like, okay, we've righted the ship. If you lose any of the next 3, I will feel like I will continue to have questions and not believe that we're back. I still think we're a playoff team. I still think they're going to get it fixed that much. But if you drop any of the next 3 games, your next 3 are the Patriots Sunday, then the Cardinals, then the Seahawks on a Thursday night. If you drop any of those 3, I'm going to be like, man, we still have problems that we haven't fixed. That's my official stance. But I'm going to take them over the Patriots. We'll keep going. I got to be quick. My wife's going to divorce me if I take too much time. I promised her I would be quick. You got Commanders at the Cardinals. Whoa. I'm taking the Cardinals. I don't want to, but they're at home. Commanders got a big win over Cincinnati, but that game was on the road, so you're back-to-back road games, basically across the country for this one. I want the Commanders to win, and I am rooting for the Commanders, but I think the Cardinals are a pretty decent team. They lost to the Lions, so they came back to earth a little bit. But I think they're going to win. I think they're going to beat the Commanders. And then when the Niners play them, if they just take care of business, it'll be 2-2. It'd actually be a sneaky good NFC West matchup. I'm going to take the Cardinals probably by 3. So I'm going to say Washington covers. Chiefs, Chargers, man, I want with everything in me. It seems a little disrespectful that the Chiefs are 7.5-point favorites. What have the Chiefs done to get that kind of margin? I understand that they're the Chiefs. Every game they play is within 1 score. Every game they play comes down to the final possession, it feels like. The refs helping them out. But the Chargers are banged up. Herbert's banged up. And then can we talk about this? They just suspended Derwin James 1 game because they said he's had too many head-to-head hits, helmet hits. Guys, Rashee Rice is like driving drunk down the freeway, running into cars. They have it on film. He pled guilty, and he's playing football right now. Like, I understand that they're letting the legal process play out, but why? He's like already pled guilty to this. And Derwin James, who all he does is play football, and sure, sometimes he plays hard and he gets his head in there and it goes head to head, and you're going to suspend him, take him off the field for that? That is some of the biggest BS I've ever heard. But whatever. Whatever. I just think it's crazy, that kind of double standard, but whatever. But because of those things, I'm going to take the Chiefs. But it'll come down to the last possession like it normally does. They don't blow anybody out. They didn't blow anybody out last year. They're not. I think this year you're going to see the Chiefs win anywhere from 11 to 13 games, and 10 or 11 of those wins are going to be 1 possession. Let's see. Herbert dealing with a wrist injury. Yeah, he's not. Who won 3 Super Bowls? What are this talking about? What are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Anyway, you let me know, Scott. I don't know what you're referring to. I'm sure it was something I said. He was questionable heading into the game, and they got pulled mid-game. And I agree, Rashid should have gotten suspended. I just don't understand. Like, he pled guilty. What are we waiting for? What are we waiting for to know if he should be able to play or not? Zeke got suspended 4 games for Zeke got 4 games for just like not even like going legal trouble. They were just like, yeah, you're making the league look bad. Oh, okay. Fine. But you're going to let Rashid play? You asked what the Chiefs have done. Yeah, I get it. But Zeke got 6 games. Exactly. And he didn't even like his girl, like whoever didn't, I'm not defending what Zeke did, but the girl didn't even like press charges, right? It was just like, oh yeah, we got to protect the shield. You're making this look bad. 6 games. Rashee Rice is caught on film and you can't suspend him. Clown show. What a clown show. Scott, I understand that, but every game they play is close. I know they've won. I'm not mad that they're favored. I'm mad 7.5 on the road to a 2-1 Chargers team that's like playing good football. I don't know, man. Now I understand like the Chargers don't have much of a home field advantage, like by any means, playing in SoFi, but it just feels weird. Every game the Chiefs play it's a 1-score game. Every game. Like 90% of the games they've played in the last 2 years, it feels like it comes down to the final possession. So 7.5 in the NFL is like a big number. That's like way too big in my opinion. But what do I know? I went 7-9 on the week last week, so I suck. Ooh, Browns Raiders. I'm taking Raiders. I think that is the most humiliating loss after a huge win against the Ravens. Actually, small victory lap. One of my big few victories on Sunday was I picked the Panthers over the Raiders, and it worked. It happened just how I thought. The Raiders coming off this super emotional high, beating the Ravens, coming from behind and beating the Ravens, and then just get absolutely pistol whipped by Carolina. Their pride is on the line right now. Antonio Pierce is pissed. Antonio Pierce had a great line in his press conference, or a day after he reviewed the film. He said when watching the film, you could see some of these guys making business decisions, which means we'll start making some business decisions as a staff going forward as well. It's a great line. If you guys don't know, whoever's watching this, if you're making a business decision in football, like let's say you got Derrick Henry running the ball coming through the hole and you're a linebacker, or you're like a safety, maybe you're a little undersized, and you have a free shot at Derrick Henry, but you know if you go hit him, you know exactly what's going to happen. So you make a business decision and you like take a bad angle or something so that you don't have to hit him right on. That's kind of what Antonio Pierce is saying. He's saying guys made business decisions protecting their own bodies instead of selling out for the team. No. Zeke, it was 2 years after Ray Rice, and the league was super overregulated domestic situations. Great, but it still is like the precedent. Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, she didn't press charges. It was 2 years after. The linebacker not making a tackle and saying it was a business decision was asked about it during. Did he say it was a business decision? The linebacker not making a tackle and saying it was a business decision. Dude, you can't make business decisions in the NFL. I'll tell you what, you cannot do that. I had a friend, actually, I served an LDS mission, and one of the guys I served with, his brother played football at USC for a year, and it was in the heyday of Toby Gerhart for Stanford. You guys remember Toby Gerhart? Not a great NFL player, but man, he was awesome. The Great White Hope. Maybe some white running backs could make it in the league, and Toby Gerhart was like everyone's hope. Anyway, my buddy that I was on my mission with, his brother played linebacker for USC, and his brother his brother going up against Toby Gerhart coming through the hole. There was a lead blocker, a fullback coming through kind of off to the right, and then Toby Gerhart was kind of off to the left, like over here. And his brother went and hit the fullback when he could have had a clear shot at Toby Gerhart. And when he asked, he was clowning his brother after the game. He's like, dude, why didn't you tackle Toby? He just kind of looked at him and he was like, bro, we're on ESPN. You think I was about to get trucked by Toby Gerhart on freaking national TV like that? Like, ain't no way. I made a business decision. I was going to take on the fullback and make it look like I got blocked. Just freaking hilarious. But some guys do that sometimes. Real cool, bro. My producer, so late. You act like you got kids or something that you got to take care of. It's my fault. I went an hour earlier tonight because, again, Stacy's trying to divorce me because I get in so late after we do the shows. You didn't miss much. We just talked about how bad I did last week in my picks. Anyway, Shaq Numbs, that's crazy. Yes, during the press conference, he was asked about it, and that's what his answer was, a business decision. Holy crap, man. Holy crap. You'd be on the practice squad. You'd be off the team. That's embarrassing. You're in the NFL, dude. You're in the NFL. There are a lot of guys out there on practice squads, free agents on the street that will sell out and do anything to be on the team. You're making business decisions, man. You don't deserve to be on the team. It's just my opinion. But what do I know? I didn't play in the NFL. All right. Last 3 games. Here we go. Buffalo at Baltimore. In Baltimore, Sunday Night Football. That's a good game. I know Baltimore is 1-2. The Bills are 3-0. This is gonna be a good game. Buffalo looks. They're another one. I picked Buffalo to miss the playoffs. I just thought losing Stephon Diggs, losing Gabe Davis, losing the guys on defense, they had as much roster turnover as almost anyone. But Josh Allen is just being really efficient with the football. The offense is being really efficient. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. Now it's also a short week. Buffalo played on Monday night, and now they got to go to Baltimore. I feel like I can't pick against the Bills, though. But this is my upset watch of the week, if you can even call it upset. I mean, Baltimore's favored. They're favored at home, as they should be. They're at home, but given how the season's gone so far, I'm a little surprised that they're favored. But I'm going to go Buffalo. We all know how I feel about the Ravens offense, about Lamar Jackson. Not the biggest believer in Lamar Jackson. I'm a regular season believer in Lamar Jackson, but you have to win a certain way with him. Buffalo's just rolling, playing with confidence. Baltimore probably feels good. They got to win, but they almost blew it. They almost gave it away. So I don't know. I don't think Derrick Henry looks like the same guy he was before. It looks like the end is near for him. So I'm taking Buffalo. I'm going to take Buffalo in that game. If I was a betting man, I'd definitely put money on Buffalo because they're underdogs. So now another doubleheader, Monday Night Football, the absolute toilet bowl of a game. You've got Tennessee and the Dolphins. Golly, you're going to get Tim Boyle. I don't think Skylar Thompson's going to play. He's like in concussion protocol. I'm taking the Titans. Scott, I don't know if I took the Titans at work today, but I'm taking the Titans. They are so bad with Skylar Thompson. Probably only worse with Tim Boyle. I'm taking the Titans. And lastly, Seahawks at the Lions. This is a great game playing in Detroit. Great Monday Night Football game. Now Seattle 3-0, but we talked about this, guys. If you guys know what DVOA rankings are, they rank your team based off of a bunch of like adjusted advanced metrics, and a lot of people use it as like the way to really accurately know how good a team is. So offensive stats, when you like, oh, what's the number one offense in the league? Well, when they make that determination, they do it based off of which team has gained the most yards this season, total yards. That's like what they do it off of. But we know like that doesn't always tell the whole story. Like that can be really skewed. Same with defense. Who has given up the least amount of yards? Well, DVOA like is way more advanced than just that. It takes like all those kinds of things into account and whatever. It's like really complicated. What I'm saying is if you take the DVO rankings for all the teams and compare them against for schedules and do like a strength of schedule based off of DVOA rankings. I know this is a mouthful, but you take those DVO rankings. Seattle has had the easiest schedule based on DVOA rankings, the easiest in the NFL up to this point. They have played the Broncos. Okay. We talked about this, Broncos, and then who did they play? Oh, the Patriots, and went to overtime against the Patriots. And then they played freaking Skylar Thompson and Tim Boyle and the Dolphins. Okay. Easiest by DVOA rankings. Now, they're 3-0. That counts. Okay. But I expect things to even out for them. And I'm taking the Lions. The Lions, good win over Arizona. Now they're coming back at home, trying to get even more back on track after that loss in week 2. So I'm gonna take the Lions. 49er fans, I'm gonna talk about this tomorrow. If you're a 49er fan watching this, like, look, the path is there in 3 weeks to be at the top of the NFC West again. All you need, it's a lot easier said than done, but like just think about it. You need Seattle to lose to Detroit. I'm picking them to lose. Okay, Detroit they're only they're 3.5-point favorites. I thought it'd be a little bigger, but 3.5-point favorites. If they lose to Detroit and then you win your next 3 games, you are top of the conference, assuming that the Rams lose another game. But just like that, you would beat them on Thursday Night Football, and you'd be like, oh, we were freaking out after week 3, but now week 6 is over, and we're in the lead again. Like, if you're a 49er fan, that's what you keep telling yourself, because that's how we get through this game without being so freaking depressed all the time. 6 feels a little high. I'm going to post 6.5 is the over-under on how many people will watch the Titans-Dolphins game. I'll watch for the first 45 minutes before the Lions Seahawks game starts. But not many people are going to watch that game. Not many people are going to. Down with the Seahawks is right. Just can't stand him, man. Can't stand him. Geno Smith's actually statistically having a pretty good year. I don't know what any of the advanced like metrics, but right now he's 3rd in passing yards, 787. He's 2nd behind Dak, who's 1st, and then Brock Purdy, who's at 2. But I need things to even out with Seattle real quick. I need things to even out with Seattle because it is no good. I didn't even ask you guys. I'm not all echoey, am I? Shaq Nums, I'm good. I turned down all the echo. Did I? Oh no, yeah. I'm not echoey, right? Anyway, down with the Seahawks. I agree with that. I agree with it. What's the biggest shock in the NFL this year so far? Before I leave, anybody in the chat? What is the most like I never expected that coming? For me, I talked about it a little earlier. I think it's the Bengals at 0-3. That has been my biggest miss so far. My biggest miss so far. The other one would have been if the Saints had just not freaking forgot how to play football at the end of the game against Philly, and the Saints being 3-0. That would have been my biggest one. Um, Along with the Bengals, because I do not believe in Dennis Allen and Derek Carr, but they've proven me wrong. You're not wrong, Shaq Numbs. The Vikings at 3-0. Though I thought the Vikings would be a tough out for most teams. I thought they like the Cardinals last year were just like a tough out for everybody, but they weren't really like a playoff team. But man, they're getting Kevin O'Connell is freaking fantastic, and Sam Darnold is starting to put it together. So like that's pretty surprising. And you're pretty big on the Jags. You, or at least you were. I was not. I don't. I do not believe in Trevor Lawrence. I do not think he's worth the contract. I do not think that is going to end well. But I didn't necessarily think they'd be 0-3, especially when they had that lead against the Dolphins week 1. So that seems pretty crazy. Steelers 3-0. We talked about that a little bit earlier, Josh. Steelers 3-0. I don't think that's the most surprising, just because they were going to have a good defense. They were going to have a good defense no matter what. And Mike Tomlin teams just play hard. They play good, sound football. Their biggest problem has been the quarterback play. They just don't get much on offense. And what's his name? Justin Fields isn't like, he's playing good. He's playing good. He's not like lighting it up like crazy. Let's look real quick. Let's look here. We'll go. Hold on. Let me present. Let's look at these real quick. You guys want to go on a little journey with me? Let's look at these complete leaders for passing yards. Where is Justin Fields? So these are just yards. I know that yards isn't everything, but it's kind of a good like metric, right? I mean, let's be honest. Okay. Justin Fields at 27 in the league right now at 518. Now, there's not a huge, but number one, Dak is at 851. Now, there's a lot to it. Like, okay, like you're winning games, you're going to run the ball a lot. I don't know. What's his average right now? 6.9. Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I'm just saying, like, it's hard to think that Justin Fields just is a franchise quarterback now. Like, I don't believe that, but I do think he's better than Kenny Pickett, and they're so good on defense that he's not giving the ball away. He's not turning the ball over, probably like he did in Chicago. I just want to point everyone's direction up to number 2 average. Brock Purdy at number 2. People always want to talk about him being a check down merchant. Like, holy crap, people need to shut up, man. Shut up. He's like top 5 in every statistic right now for the most part. Okay, what's his completion percentage? I think he's at 7 in completion percentage. 72.6. Okay. QBR. Oh, rating, passer rating. He's at 6. QBR is at 4. Yards, though, he's at 2nd. Anyway, point is, I don't think the Steelers like surprises me that much, but it's just like I 100% everyone in the league would take Justin Fields over Kenny Pickett, and he's not turning the ball over. And the recipe for them is play really good defense, just get enough out of the offense, and we'll win some games. So hats off to him. Hats off to him for sure. You're surprised the Cowboys aren't 3-0? I'm not surprised. I'm surprised you aren't 2-1. I'm surprised you lost to the Saints, but not surprised. Not surprised. Can we agree Russ isn't seeing the field? Fields is QB1. Even Russ is healthy, quote unquote. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think it's going to be the Justin Fields show. Why would you change it? Why would you change it for Russell Wilson? If you sorry, I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, guys. I got my garage open and I'm just getting ate alive right now. Yeah. Why? I mean, if you had like somebody like legit, then yeah, even though Fields is the hot hand, he's playing well, like I would probably go away if I had like the guy that I assumed was my guy for good. But for Russell Wilson, it was debatable whether he was better than Justin Fields anyway. So why would I make that move? No way they make that move. And if they do, they got real problems. Tomlin's not going to make that move. He's going to keep playing like, oh, we don't think Fields is we don't think Russ is like 100%. This is one of those injuries where we want to be absolutely 100% before we bring him back. anyway, he'll keep pulling that for a while, and then eventually they'll be 5-1 or whatever, and he'll be like, "Yeah, we're gonna stick with Fields." If the Niners, when he says we, he means the Niners. If the Niners keep sucking, Brock is gonna have better numbers than last year, higher passing numbers anyway. Yeah, 100%, 100%. I agree with that. I think. Here's what I know. Last year, it felt like every game the Niners won, it was over by the middle of the third quarter. We did not have until the playoffs. I can't remember one close game that we won. Really, I mean, the Rams week 2 was like kind of close. Just felt like every other game we just blew teams out of the water. That is not going to be the case this year. We might have 1 or 2 blowouts, but that is not going to be the case, which means Brock is going to have to keep throwing the ball. Now, he freaking looked great. He looked great against the Rams. I don't care what anyone says. I know they didn't win the game, so he's not going to get as much credit. But no Debo, no CMC, no Kittle. Oh man, he looked fantastic. 77% completion percentage, something like that, 75. And if he had 8 completions on the game, 4 to 6 of them were drops. Like holy crap, man! He would have been like 90% completion percentage if guys catch the freaking ball. Brock Messiah for free TD. Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. Do you want to hear the explanation? Because Kyle Shanahan was asked about that. You know what he said? He said Ayuk was supposed to run a curl route on that play. And as the play developed, the safety blew coverage. The safety was not where he was supposed to be. And so Ayuk did the right thing and he kept going. He kept running for the end zone. And Brock hesitated, not trusting what he was seeing because one, he was like, is he really that open? Is there a guy I don't see? And he just hesitated and didn't let it loose. Now, of course, I wish he would have let it loose. I wish he would have taken the chance and let it loose, but that was not like the called play. It was on the fly. Ayuk made the adjustment as he should have, and Brock didn't let it loose because he probably didn't want to turn it over. He probably was like, there's a safety there. I know I don't see him right now, but someone's there. I'm not letting this loose right now. Of course, it's unfortunate he didn't let it go. I will pay for this. I will pay, Josh. I will pay for you to fly out. I'll buy your plane tickets. You come out. I will set it up. We could do this in my garage, or we'll do it in Scott's parents' backyard. It's fantastic. And I will sit in the hot tub while I watch you guys duke it out. I would love to see it. I will pay that out of my own pocket. No excuses, Scott. These are not excuses. These are real. But it was disappointing. I'm kind of glad that was the explanation because it was weird. Brock never like hesitates like that. So clearly something was up. And most people were like, "Oh, he doesn't trust Ayuk," when really it was just like it's not at all what it was. It was just it was like a break in coverage and he wasn't expecting it and he couldn't let it go because he was scared there was some guy he couldn't see, something like that. So anyway. All right. I think that's all I got. You guys got anything else for me before I wrap it up? I gotta get in. I can hear Stacy huffing and puffing in there, getting all mad that I'm still out in the garage. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm a 32-year-old man hanging out with my bros in the garage, and we don't all live by each other, so we have to do it through my YouTube channel. So it feels selfish on her part, but whatever. Just kidding. I love you, babe. That was a joke. You got anything for me? Nothing? All right. Last one, Josh. When we get in B-dubs and watching a game, we definitely need to do that. Shaq Numbs will do that sometime. Might have to be a college game. I'm more likely to be able to do that on a Saturday than I'll be able to on a Sunday. But we could probably make that happen sometime. Josh, last real quick before I go, Josh, what's your score prediction? Niners Patriots. Because if we lose, if we lose off the rails, we are not making the playoffs. Like that'll be my thing. But we're favored by 10.5. We are at home, coming off a bad loss. So you assume guys are just going to be extremely focused. So I'm just curious what you think that score is going to be. I think 10.5 I think we're going to win by 10. I think this game is going to be like 30-20. Maybe not. I mean, the Patriots have a pretty solid defense. So I'm going to say you're such a jerk, Scott. Man, you are like my mortal enemy, dude. Patriots 20, 49ers 17. You willing to put money on that, Scott? Because I'll put money on it. We can put money on it. Bet in the office. Okay. You let me know. Okay. I'm thinking probably like 24-14 feels right. $1. Okay. All right. $1. If the Patriots do not win 20-17, I get $1. I like 24-14, and that would feel gross. The only way you feel kind of good about that is if uh like you're up 24-7 like most of the game, and then they get like a late touchdown, then maybe you feel good. But I don't know. I don't think we cover. I think it's a 10-point game. I think we win this maybe 27-17. I hope you're right, bro. I hope you're right. 56-7. You were the most pessimistic 49ers fan I've ever known, ever, and will ever know. And that's your prediction. That surprises me. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Because uh, I do not have much faith in the team right now. I have a lot of faith in Brock Purdy. I have a lot of faith in Fred Warner. Uh, I have faith in Jordan Mason. Kittle's going to be back out there. I have faith in Kittle, but I don't have faith in the rest of the defense. That includes Nick Bosa. I'm going to hit on that sometime. Scott and I had a long discussion about Nick Bosa today. I don't have faith in the secondary at the moment. Demo, I do, but I don't have faith in our defensive coordinator, and I don't have faith in our head coach to close out games at the moment. So we'll see. That sounds more like it. 24-13 feels right, but that would mean they cover, and I just said they won't cover, so I'll say 24-14. Anyway, that's all I got. You guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. If it's after the fact, I appreciate you. We do this every Wednesday night. Actually, I might have to do it next Tuesday. We might be switching to Tuesday night, fellas and ladies. If you're watching, if you're a football fan, don't want to discriminate. Might have to be Tuesdays. My wife is making it clear that Wednesdays is not the best night for her, so I'll keep you updated. Regardless, we do a hang every week to kind of preview what's coming up, and so join us anytime. Join the chat. Say whatever you want. I'll throw your comments up on the screen, and we'll talk about it. But you guys are awesome. I'm out. Enjoy the week. Enjoy the weekend. Enjoy the football. I'll see you next time.